President of the United States is now directly and specifically endorsing and glorifying political violence, meaning physical violence against people whose politics you disagree with or who you identify as your political opponents, and against media. And we've been talking about this physical violence trend or problem on the right for a long time. And there's this projection that exists on the right, which we've pointed out for a very long time. The right likes to say the left polices language, but the right actually does a fair share of language policing themselves. The right likes to say that the left is all about political correctness, but the right enforces its own extraordinarily toxic version of political correctness as well. And of course, the right likes to say that the left and Antifa and eco-terrorists are so physically violent, but every study confirms time and again that the overwhelming amount of political violence, physical political violence, is coming from the right. You'll remember that Donald Trump offered to pay the legal fees of people arrested for fighting at his rallies during the presidential campaign. I believe he didn't actually end up doing it, but he was saying it pretty frequently.
Trump promises to pay people all the time and then never follows through.
It's not about the violence. It's about Trump just doesn't pay people when he promises to. Trump and his attacks on media could very realistically create real world violence using terms like scum about media. And in fact, we had a person, an American, a US-based journalist named Jamal Khashoggi killed in Saudi Arabia, all as a result of the stories that he wrote in the Washington Post. And then now he has sort of gone completely over the line, praising that Congressman Greg Gianforte for body slamming a reporter. I don't know if you remember this story, but when Greg Gianforte was running for Congress in Montana, he body slammed a reporter. And Trump is now cheering it at a rally in Montana. Check this out.
But Greg is smart. And by the way, never wrestle him. You understand that? Never. Any guy that can do a body slam, he's my kind of... He's my guy.
Yep, and then more cheering of the violence, and the crowd just loves it. Look at them.
And I heard about it. And we endorsed Greg very early. But I had heard that he body slammed a reporter. And he was way up. And I said, oh, this was like the day of the election or just before. And I said, oh, this is terrible. He's going to lose the election. Then I said, well, wait a minute. I know Montana pretty well. I think it might help him. And it did.
People are cheering, and Trump is cheering, the physical assault of a reporter. So there are three stories here. Number one, the projection, okay? The right painting the left as violent. The overwhelming majority of the political violence is on the right. Number two, this has a real world impact. Jamal Khashoggi, more readily, more nearby, hostility towards regular reporters, security situations all the time with CNN reporters, for example, at Trump events where they need extra security or to be escorted out. And then the third story is Trump always more aligned with authoritarian regimes and the action of authoritarians. France, Germany, England, Canada, increasingly hostile relationships. Turkey, Russia, North Korea, Saudi Arabia, and it cannot be ignored that the hostility towards media that Donald Trump is espousing here is related to the killing of Jamal Khashoggi in Saudi Arabia because he called for reforms and criticized the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. How dare he do that? Trump involved there possibly in the cover-up rather than the investigation, at least as a useful idiot, parroting this possibility of so-called rogue killers being responsible. A journalist was killed for doing journalism. Trump provides cover to the killers, and then now he praises an elected official who body slammed a reporter when he was a candidate. Is this sociopathy? Is this evil? Like, is this just what being a genuinely bad person looks like? And if it were just Trump, it would be one thing. It would be plenty bad, but it would just be one thing. But his followers are cheering. His followers are cheering and loving the reference to when a reporter was body slammed by a Republican.
Yeah, and remember, Trump ran as a law and order type. He's now the chief executive of the country, and he's encouraging law breaking. It's not like Gianforte was under attack by the reporter, got hit with the right hook, and then had to body slam the other guy in self-defense.
No.
This was all his doing.
But what's crazy is they don't even have to argue it's self-defense. Like, you would think that if there was going to be some political cost for body slamming the reporter, they might even try to say, well, he was defending himself. The reporter was carrying a knife, or he had picked up a chair in a sort of WWE style attack. They don't even lie about it because they just don't need to.
He asked a question about healthcare,
Yes.
and that apparently triggered Gianforte so much that he had to attack the guy. And you want this guy as your congressman?
And they have the audacity to complain that Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Stephen Miller can't eat out in peace because they're being heckled. These people are disgusting and they have no shame. Today's episode of The David Pakman Show made possible in part by ZipRecruiter. There are job sites that will send you a lot of the wrong resumes to sort through, or they will make you wait for the correct candidates to apply to the job that you are trying to hire for, sometimes quickly. That is not smart. What is smart is going to ZipRecruiter.com/Pakman to just hire the right person, because ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds the right candidates for you. Its powerful matching technology scans thousands of resumes, identifies people with the right skills, the right education, the right experience for your job, and actively invites them to apply, so that you end up with qualified candidates quickly. No sorting through the wrong resumes, no waiting for the right people to apply. And that's why ZipRecruiter is rated #1 by employers in the US. This rating comes from hiring sites on Trustpilot that have more than 1,000 reviews. And right now, our viewers and listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Pakman. That is ZipRecruiter.com/Pakman. ZipRecruiter.com/Pakman. It is the smartest way to hire.